Hey everyone! Welcome to Digicore. My name is Bianca. Today, we will learn about video resolution. What is it? What are the different video resolutions? And what is the best video resolution we need? In today's generation, there are many screen resolutions to choose from. There are 240p, 480p, 720p, 1080p, and more. In this video, we will explain video resolution. But first, let's talk about video. So what is video? Video is the sequence of the images on the screen. That changes gradually with speed, and gives the illusion of motion, depending on the frame rate or frames per second you've set. But how do we get into resolution? Resolution is the number of unique pixels per dimension. It consists of small dots or colored squares that form an image on the screen. These dots or colored squares are called pixels. So how does it works? Pixels are measured and arranged horizontally and vertically. So, if you have a 1920 by 1080 resolution, it means there are 1920 pixels horizontally, and 1080 pixels vertically. Then what are the different video resolutions? There are various video resolutions. Let us categorize it into three. First, the low definitions. These definitions are less than the size of the standard definition. Typical resolutions of low-definition videos are 240p or 360p. Second, standard definitions or SD. The standard resolution for SD is 480p. It has 640 pixels horizontally, and 480 pixels vertically, which are commonly used in digital television. You will notice it is softer or almost blurry, compared to today's high-definition videos. Third, the high definitions. First, the high definition itself, or the 720p, has 1280 pixels horizontally, and 720 pixels vertically. It has a 16:9 aspect ratio, and is compatible with widescreen displays. Second, the Full HD, or 1080p. It has 1920 pixels horizontally, and 1080 pixels vertically. These resolutions are commonly used in Blu-ray players, and video content. Third, Quad HD or 1440p, also known as QHD. With 2560 pixels horizontally, and 1440 pixels vertically. These resolutions are standard for high-end monitors, televisions. Fourth, Ultra HD, or 2160p. With 3840 pixels horizontally, and 2160 vertically. It is 4 times the size of Full HD. Finally, Full Ultra HD, or 4320p. It has approximately 8,000 columns horizontally, or 7,680 pixels, and 4,320 vertically. It has sharper and more detailed quality. Now some of you might be wondering, what is P and I in 1080p or 1080i? The P does not stand for pixel, but it refers to progressive scan, which means it displays all the lines in every frame simultaneously. While this is in contrast to I, or the interlaced scan, which it transmits or displays the lines alternately. This means, when you are watching TV with a 1080p video resolution, it is like the entire picture painted at once, all the same time, while the 1080i video resolution is where the scanned lines are split into odd and even, where the odd lines appear on the screen at the same time, and the even lines follow. So by now, you've probably heard frame rate or frame per second. What is it? Is this important? Yes, it is important. To better understand, let's give you an example. Do you remember flip books, where the pad of paper had a picture on each page, and when you quickly flip the pages, the picture comes out and moves quickly? This is how video works. It's a series of images that when viewed sequentially at a certain speed, gives the appearance of motion. Each page in the flipbook is called a frame. And rate is how fast you flip the book, or the speed of movement. The common term is frames per second, or FPS. So if a video is captured at 30 FPS, it displays 30 still images per second of video. So why is this important? This is important because it affects the video's style and experience. The higher the rate, the faster and better the quality of your display and viewing experience. So now, speaking of rate, what is the difference between frame rate and refresh rate? Does frame rate similar to refresh rate? In terms of analogy, both refresh rate and frame rate refer to the number of times still images are displayed per second. But the refresh rate and frame rate are not really the same. Refresh rate is a technical term used for computer monitors, televisions, and other viewing devices, or hardware. It's the number of times per second that a new image will refresh on your monitor and is measured in hertz. While the frame rate does not determine the monitor itself. Instead, it is determined by the combination of software or media used. The concept of refresh rate is directly related to monitors, or other forms of display hardware. In other words, it describes the number of times the monitor display is refreshed and refers to how many times per second the display can draw a new image. For example, if your display has a refresh rate of 144 Hz, it is refreshing the image 144 times per second. As a basic rule, the higher the refresh rate on a monitor, the better. Higher refresh rates are likely to produce smoother motion. Now, we've talked about monitors and screen displays. Have you ever noticed that when you watch a movie or video, there are black bars at the top and bottom, or sometimes on the left and right sides of the screen? Or why do some movies seem broader, and some don't? It is because of the aspect ratio. What is aspect ratio? It is the ratio of the width to the height of the photos or videos. It's usually expressed as two numbers separated by a colon. Example: a 1:1 aspect ratio means that for every single unit of horizontal measurement, there is an equivalent of 1 unit of each vertical measurement. The 4:3 aspect ratio also means that for every 4 equivalent units of measurement for the width, there will be 3 units of height. The first number of the ratio always refers to the width, while the second number refers to the height. So, what are the different aspect ratios? There have been many different aspect ratios throughout history since then, and some of them are still in use today. First, 1:1, or square. This display is rarely used on devices and monitors. It is often used in mobile apps, such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It is also sometimes used in business video projectors. Second, 4:3. Common on computer monitors and television screens. Older television models are usually made using this ratio. Third, 16:9. Televisions have evolved to include the popular widescreen, with an aspect ratio of 16:9. Widescreen video, computer monitors, and presentation slides typically have an aspect ratio of 16:9. In fact, most phones and cameras will default to recording videos at this ratio. These are just different examples of aspect ratios. So why are aspect ratios important? Aspect ratios are designed to handle certain resolutions, without any stretching or distortion of the image or videos, and without any black bars around the videos or movies we watch. Does the aspect ratio affect the resolution? Yes. Sometimes you can have a very high resolution video, but if you can't choose the perfect aspect ratio for it, it will look rugged or stretched, and you will lose the real fun of watching it. So both aspect ratio and resolution are interrelated. Example: we have two videos with full HD resolution, or 1920 by 1080 resolution, that may have the same resolution, but they may also have different aspect ratios. Example A has a 16:9 aspect ratio, while example B has a 9:16 aspect ratio. In other words, they are both full HD resolution, but the viewing orientation will vary. Let's have another example. There is a video with 480p resolution, and it is played on the computer monitor. It's blurry because it looks stretched. Sometimes we can set the video screen to have good video quality, but the display shrinks. So, how do we know the right aspect ratio? The formula for finding the aspect ratio is AR equals W over H, where AR is the aspect ratio, W is the width, and H is the height. Example number 1. If you have 480p video resolution, how do we get the right aspect ratio for it? Let's compute. As we know that 480p resolution or standard definition has 640 pixels horizontally, and 480 pixels vertically. So when we divide 640 as the width, by 480 as the height, we can get 4/3, or 4:3 aspect ratio. Let's try another one. Let's say we're watching a movie with Ultra HD. We know that Ultra HD resolution has a pixel count of 3840 horizontally, and 2160 vertically. We divide 3840 for its width, and 2160 for its height. We get a 16:9 aspect ratio. It's easy, right? Since we're talking display sizes and aspect ratio, let us also talk about screen size. What is the screen size? Screen size is the actual physical size of the screen, on which photos and videos are displayed. It is usually described by the length of its diagonal, which is the distance between two corners. Is it the same as the video resolution? Screen size and video resolution are not directly related. For example, you could have a 15-inch laptop and a 27-inch desktop monitor with the same resolution of 1920 by 1080. The resolution of both devices is the same. So what would be the difference? They can display an accurate image, but the difference is that the desktop monitor screen is larger than the laptop screen. As you can see, having the right knowledge about video resolution and its importance will help us a lot. We hope this helps. Thank you for watching.